Good morning, I'm Michael from Mum Monster Gaming. If you enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. So today I'm looking at Dungeons and Dragons Adventures number 5, which is a partwork from Hachette. The latest one comes with these dice, another set of little dice, and it's in the shops for $8.99 a week. Now, this one here, if I go and look at the contents, so the contents of this one, we have some sage advice here. So we have the 3 pillars, passage of time and light and darkness, plus a little bit on combat, as I predicted. But this one's got all about the fighter, character creation. And then we've got some lore for Neverwinter Wood and monsters, skeletons, because both of these are going to be relevant for our quest, our encounter, Crypt of the Elf Lord. So these books are excellently written. They're really, really well done. Anybody can pick them up and pretty much just start learning how to play Dungeons and Dragons in the world from it. It's really logically presented. I like everything that I've read in it so far. So first of all, we'll have a look at this here, the 3 pillars. So nice little presto there. So the 3 pillars is a term I'd never heard of at all. I guess I've been playing it for so long, I just hadn't heard of the concept. But the 3 pillars are, all of Dungeons and Dragons pretty much falls into 3 categories: exploration, social interaction, and combat. So I guess that's one of the big differences for us. When we played as teenagers, social interaction wasn't as big a deal. And it was all about puzzle solving. But anyway, the 3 pillars are exploration, social interaction, and combat. So we have a nice little bit here explaining that you need to get the balance right. Exploration is just as important as social interaction, and combat. And then it has a little bit about roll dice or role play. You know what? If you act well enough, we should give you a free pass when we dungeon master. So I get that, and it's all quite good. Now this next bit here is about the passage of time. Really explains nicely short and long rest, which I was quite pleased with. Talks about time in combat, how 1 round equals 6 seconds. 10 rounds in a turn's a minute. Really nicely explained and nicely laid out for anybody to pick up and read and understand the rounds in a quest. That is Eric. So the next one is about light and darkness. Now here it goes into a little bit about what's considered bright light, what's considered dim light, and then what's considered pure darkness. Talks about the lighting effects, refers to one of the previous sage advices that they did in here about advantage and disadvantage on blind people and from them, but again, very nicely laid out. And then this was very nicely explained. This little combat page is all about damage resistance, vulnerability, and immunity. And it has a really good explanation of what the 3 of them are: resistance, vulnerability, and immunity. But then more importantly, it has a really good explanation on calculation. Again, really nicely thought out. And the reason it's included in this one is they've introduced a monster that has resistances. I mean, they did in the first one as well, but this one's got resistances as well. So then we go over to the fighter. So as you can expect from the previous ones, the first couple of pages are just an overview of the fighter and why they fight, and what the different sort of specializations are, a little bit about weapons. It's not very exciting, it's just fluff, really. But then it does go into the features. So like the other ones, it then launches into the features and talks about the different fighting styles. Over here, there you go, we've got the different fighting styles. Very well written, explained perfectly. Up the top, we have a nice little bit about the tools of war, talks about what is a simple weapon, and then goes on to the martial weapons. And second wind. So I think the fighter one's actually probably the best laid out and explained of all the classes that they've put in here so far. So then here we have Neverwinter Wood. Lovely, lovely picture. And then it has a little bit of lore about what's going on in Neverwinter Wood, about the elven colony city that used to be there previously, that's now faded away into time. We have this lovely map here, not the same as the one that came with issue number 2. It's a different map. Got a little bit about creatures and encounters. I would have liked maybe some random encounter tables or some suggestions of what you could include in there. It just says orcs and goblins, but actually we know it's filled with creatures, monsters, good guys, bad guys. So it could have had a little bit more detail on random encounters. In fact, I still think that's what one of the things this is missing. It's missing, there's a lot of travelling to and from locations, from Phandalin to here or from Phandalin to there and so forth. But I do think it needs, bring back random encounter tables or just good suggestions. But it does go into some nice detail about the different things in the area of Neverwinter Wood. And then moving on, got a lovely piece on skeletons. There's Eric again. Talks about them being obedient servants, talks about them being summoned with dark magic, talks about why they are skeleton-y. Now in these monster bits, no stat blocks, they save the stat blocks for the quests, but it does go into some nice top tips and how to play and about their limited intelligence. And I thought the limited intelligence piece was quite good because while it doesn't compare them to a zombie or the differences to a zombie, it does explain how they go through the motions, how they can open doors and stuff like that, how they're not as mindless as a zombie, which I thought was quite nice. So then these are my favourite bits. So we're on to the adventure, or as they rightly call it up here, the encounter. And this is Crypt of the Elf Lord. And I really enjoyed reading it. So should take between an hour or 2 to play. Still to use the characters still to use low-level characters. So the encounter overview is a wayward halfling child has discovered by accident a crypt in the woods, and the idea is that the players are compelled to go and find said crypt and, well, potentially loot it for riches or maybe just check it out. So the halfling boy, Carp, he tells a story about how he was out and he found a glowing door. And then there are skeletons, well, they're not skeletons actually, there are bodies inside that scare him away. So then as a result, the players are encouraged to go and visit the crypt. And then once they've visited the crypt, they find these immaculately preserved bodies with trees coming down from them. They're actually, it's illusionary, they're skeletons. But they've only got, and they don't know this, they've only got a certain amount of time to do it before the crypt door disappears forever. And if they're inside, they're stuck inside. So they've only got until dawn. And here we have the explanation of the first area, and then here is the Crypt of the Elf Lord. It's very simple, it's only 4 rooms. It starts with a trap, then we've got the bodies on the slabs, which turn out to be skeletons, and then eventually we have the actual Crypt of the Elf Lord themselves. Now the Elf Lord is guarded by blink dogs. We'll come to that in a minute. So we have the Sleeping Knights is area number 2. where the Elf Lord's most beloved warriors, friends, were buried with him. Then there's a magic mirror, which makes for a bit of an interesting puzzle. And then afterwards, once they get through the mirror, they've got the actual tomb where the Elf Lord resides. And then got stat block for skeleton with a lovely picture of the skeleton. And then we have stat block for the blink dogs. And then we have the end of the quest. So there is a chance to get a very, very cool magic bow, which produces its own ammunition, which is very good. So all in all, I really, really enjoyed reading through the book. I think the quest is great. I'm going to keep collecting them, and I will probably keep putting the videos up as well for as long as I do. And most importantly, again, looking through them, it's making my kids want to play D&D. And it's making me want to play it again as well. So if you enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching.